Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us as we talk about Leeds 2, QPR 0. We'll catch up with the rest of the dearly departed in the review later, but being this one happened last night, a good chance just to hone in. And there's not really that much to say. A pretty comprehensive performance by Leeds. Possibly could have been their biggest win of the season, but nice, viable performance from Leeds, who were pretty dominant against Roy Hodgson's Palace. And if you remember back to earlier in the season, it was 4-1, wasn't it, at Selhurst Park? So some real sense now of growth into the season from Leeds, and still, well, we'll look at the teams in a second, pretty light at centre half. There are your teams. So for Leeds, Meslier in goal, Ayling, Struick, Cooper, Alioski. It's developed as the season's gone, hasn't it? They always say the team that finishes the season is never the team that starts the season. I don't know how many games Struick's played now. Plenty. Still no Cock. Still no Llorente. Calvin Phillips. And you will see the little red cross by him. Don't know the state of the injury. It was right at the end of the game, wasn't it? 6:59 as we're recording this. We'll find out more today. Let's put my dearly departed hat on and cross my fingers, because Leeds are much better with Calvin Phillips than they are indeed without. Nice, well, I would say settled looking midfield. It's not really, because obviously Click had been dropped and Dallas had been moved into central midfield, which worked very well. I suppose it is settled in respects of that it's three players now, Rodrigo, Click and Dallas, for two central midfield positions. Oddly enough, Rafinha and Harrison in the wide positions. Oddly enough, almost looks like Dallas is the most nailed on for a central midfield position at the moment, being Rodrigo's had injuries and Click has been dropped recently, but Click has been an incredibly consistent player over the past couple of years, certainly while I've been covering Leeds. So, looks good to have three players fighting out those positions. We'll see when Rodrigo is back. And, of course, Pat Bamford, speaking of consistent, he's going to get his 100th goal in his career. He's going to get his 12th Premier League goal of the season. What total could he get? Really, really great stuff by Bamford. For Crystal Palace, Gaeta in goal, Klein, Dan, Cahill and Mitchell across the back. Eze, who we covered a lot in the Championship, who punished Leeds in the previous game. Milivojevic, Riedveld and Van Aanholt. Up top, Ayew and Mateta. And don't get cross with me, Leeds fans. Two things can be true. Yes, Leeds did play well, but Crystal Palace, of course, missing their best player, Wilf Zaha. Cause and effect. Who knows how different it would have been with or without him. But it would be remiss and intellectually dishonest of me not to mention that as a fact. And, of course, the light substitutes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 6 on the bench there for Palace. So a little bit thin on the ground in terms of numbers. And they were a little bit thin on the ground in being competitive in this game, because it's pretty dominant when we look through the pictures here. Here's the opening goal. Bit of a lucky one in respects of the deflection. And it's just so odd to see a Roy Hodgson team playing like this, because from just going through the highlights that I've watched this morning, Leeds transitioning and catching Palace over and again in this game. And Hodgson's teams have been masterful at that over his long career. Just a bit sleepy, I guess. And Leeds transition nice and quickly. Harrison, who's a really good attacking influence now, scored in all of Leeds' last 3 wins. Cahill's just too slow to close him down. Hits the shot, deflection, wrong foot's Gaeta, who I think is a pretty good keeper, sends him the wrong direction. Going to go in to his left-hand side. Like I say, a little bit of luck with the deflection, but at it from the word go. Quick on transition, decisive. Harrison been very good attacking factor. So a lot of positives in that goal. Also, 1-0 Leeds early. A good header by Bamford, flick on the near post. Not much of an angle there, you can see, to get it in on the near post, but forces greater into the save. Good cross from Alioski as well. Bamford should do better with this one. I think he acknowledged as much in his post-match. He takes it round Cahill, runs through, and although that angle, or that freeze frame rather, doesn't necessarily show it, I do think there's an issue here with a bit of one-footedness from Bamford. If he just continues, he can make himself a much better angle on the right foot, could even go closer in, but he's so eager to take it on his left foot and shape it in that far corner, which is, of course, capable of doing, but you can see, in terms of pressure on him, that just allows a little bit more, and I think maybe the right foot would have been the way to go. Hindsight being 20/20 on that one. A couple of good chances here for Pascal Struijk before the end of the first half. You can see Rafinha at the bottom of the picture. Nice free kick there, and Struijk just could have jumped a little bit earlier. It is quite a tall order there when you look at the height of the ball, but look at the position there. Chance for Struijk there. Hodgson's team just uncharacteristically on set plays, giving away a second chance from the cross here. This was a better chance. Look, he's in behind. You got Palace players all just standing and watching him, and he tries to engineer it into the far corner. He just completely overcooks it. So to say Leeds could have been up 2 or 3 by half-time would not be hyperbole in this game. All Leeds, really. Here we are into the second half, and again, Palace defenders, hang your head in shame here, because look at the back of the picture there. There's Bamford, who's ultimately going to score. And you can almost just see by the shape of his legs and his muscles there that he's moving faster, even in a freeze frame, than Dan, number 6, who's just ball watching, isn't he? Bless him. Rafinha in. Guy to the goalkeeper's got everything right there, hasn't he? His angles are good. He's ready and set. Rafinha hits the shot. The parry, not the best. It could go into a safer area. But, I mean, let me flash back to the other picture. Look at Dan and Bamford there. Look at Dan and Bamford there. We have to question Bamford's hunger. Really, that's all it is. It's an awareness and a hunger that ball could come back into the middle of the box. And, I mean, he deserves all the credit for that. But it's pretty basic stuff there that Roy Hodgson will be saying, look, he's just bust a gut to get there. That's not... that's not anything more than straightforward determination. Bamford, what I did like about this, cool as you like, just relaxes, doesn't slash at it. We'd seen that in the Championship when chances were going a begging for Bamford. Really calm, slides it in the corner. First time, 12th goal of the season, 100 goals up for Bamford, who's becoming one of the success stories of Leeds' season for sure. It's almost like Bielsa knew what he was talking about all along, didn't he, with Bamford? We have to put one chance in here. Eze obviously is more than capable of shaping that into the gap to Mellier's left, but should we blame the pitch? I don't know. Smacks it over the bar there. Phillips just closing him down. I had to put one in for Palace. That was complete dominance for Leeds. Unlucky as well. When I say... Often people say it could have been 3, 4, 5. It really, really could, couldn't it? When you, particularly the 2 headers for Struijk in the first half and the Bamford chance, way better chances than this. That's Harrison. Would have been another lovely half volley like the one he scored against Newcastle. That sort of shape, cutting across it with the left foot. Look, Gaeta's done there. He ain't saving that, is he? Off the bar from Jack Harrison. And yeah, just absolutely dominant from Leeds. There are the numbers, which, again, sometimes we on the channel we like to analyse the games and we get into the minutiae. Sometimes it's just straightforward. Leeds were much better, weren't they? One mitigating factor is Wilf Zaha not being there. But, I mean, when you look at the numbers, 68% possession, 17 shots to 8, 7 on target to 3, 5 corners to 3. And the stat I always really hone in on, big chances, 4 big chances to 0. 3 of them missed as well. So my could have been 3-4-5 theory is pretty much borne out by that. Excellent work from Leeds. Really, really pleased with this one for my Leeds friends and subscribers. And the best thing really is when you look at the last 8 games now, it's 3 wins in 4 for Leeds. But that's the second time now they've done it over a span of 8 games. Now, anyone who's watched the channel knows that I'm a points per game guy who likes to analyse form on that basis. And I always say 2 points per game at any point of the season over any sample size more than 1 game. So a win and a draw in a row, I class as good form. Because if you continue that over any longer period, you will undoubtedly climb the table. It's 8 games now of 2 points per game from Leeds. Really, really good stuff. They've beaten Newcastle, Burnley, West Brom, Newcastle again, Leicester and Palace over those 8 games. Obviously, the win against Leicester is the outlier. But honestly, I think Leeds fans will be pleased with that because what that shows now, and Leeds, we look at the table, moved up into the top half. Leeds are beating bottom half Premier League teams. And I'm sure, rather than some kind of erratic, a couple of wins, I don't know, against top 6 teams, but losing these key battles, this is where Leeds are. They've got into the Premier League, and the issue is to become stable around that middle of the table, to stay up first and foremost, and then be competitive in the middle. And if you want to see a kind of joined up progression, that is honestly you'd want to see. Where do you go if you're, erratic and sometimes beat 3rd and 6th and then 13th or whatever, but you lose to 20th and 18th? Do you see what I'm saying? It's almost you'd rather have it this way around because then where do you go? Okay, the improvement is then you start beating the teams in the middle. And if you're beating the teams in the bottom and beating the teams in the middle, you know you're headed for lower top half, as in second quartile, which is just fabulous, isn't it? When you consider the 16 years away. And I know the Premier League can be like this sometimes, where you get this situation of, okay, here are the top 6 or 7. Everything else is much of a muchness. It's a bit less like that this season because of some of the dearly departed down at the bottom. I have to say, somewhat whipping boys down there, aren't there? But there is more sort of layers of the table this season, and Leeds definitely in a desirable part from where they've come from, for sure, and up to 10th. So 1 point above Arsenal there, and also Southampton are on a bad slip, but Southampton have been operating much higher than that. And I think if you'd said to Leeds fans you're going to be above Southampton, Wolves, Arsenal particularly, you would have known that meant decent stuff. I suppose the one mitigating factor here, well, the one thing that we should discuss, 10 wins, 10 defeats, even goal difference, 38 each, which does show us that, as we kind of already knew, Leeds a little bit all or nothing here. In the Championship, obviously that translated to sort of 20 plus wins, but 10 plus defeats across the season, with Leeds kind of going for it. But I don't know, you'd rather that as a fan, wouldn't you? You win some, you lose some, but it's getting the wins. And particularly when you look at the bottom of the table, that's exactly what their promoted counterparts, Fulham and West Brom, haven't done. Essentially, Leeds have won more games in the last 8 than Fulham or West Brom put together all season. And that's the key. Leeds win Premier League games, and long may it continue for our dearly departed watchers here and our Leeds subscribers. And one thing to consider, look at that. Leeds 1 place off Aston Villa. And Villa are playing well. You can see 3 wins in 5 for the Villains. They've got a game in hand, but great stuff for the dearly departed. 9th and 10th, and a bit of a challenge now for Leeds to be the top team in our 5. Anyway, with all of that being said, we'll get this one up now, and we'll do the rest of the dearly departed review as the morning goes off. Just wanted to hone in on a good performance. And for you Villa fans watching, yes, Villa, great win as well against Arsenal, which we'll get into later today. That was back on Saturday. Obviously, big thank you to Jay Coyle, our fan sponsor for the Dearly Departed shows. Dearly Departed, also known as Ben, couldn't bear to lose us. Jay has got involved over on Patreon. That is keeping me going at the moment, Patreon. Thank you to everybody who subscribed over there. We're working towards a more regular weekly schedule of extra Patreon shows and a bit of extra value over there. As I said, we'll get into the other dearly departed games. A good win for Villa. For the rest of them, not so good, although Fulham did pick up a point in controversial fashion at the end of their game, but the bottom 2 slip sliding away, in the words of Paul Simon at the moment. Anyway, we'll get into that. But for this one, get your comments in on Leeds 2, Palace 0. Do you remember the earlier weeks in the season? Talking about viability, not seeing it from Leeds in the first, 6, 7 games until the Villa game, really. We've got it now, haven't we? We've really got it. And Leeds sat in 10th now, a good proportion into the season, and all looking very, very lovely. And by the way, I should have said, that Brighton defeat in context now. We were so flat after that one, weren't we, on the channel? But that actually did transpire with a good Brighton run and a good Leeds run, as it turned out to be over the last 8 games. Right, thank you everybody for watching. Get in the comments, and it is over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.